today, ladies. I'm excited. We have Marcy Wilson here today, and so we're going to try something new. We're going to invite her on as a speaker, and she's going to share some really cool things today on our topic regarding just how we've talked about cohesive communication and how Terry mentioned just the struggle for mission creep. And I've had the privilege of working with Marcy doing her growth guide. She did fantastic. And so I was like, this is so good for today's session. So Marcy, thank you for joining me live today. This is exciting.
Sure.
Perfect. Let's just start telling us a little bit about just how long Set to Flourish has been on your heart and what brought you to WMPA.
Sure. So I've been working at various nonprofits for the last 15 years or so, and I'd heard of something called the Christian Women's Job Corps on and off over the years. It's a national ministry that mentors and equips women with skills and employment readiness. And so I researched it on and off over the years, and just more out of curiosity than anything else. Then about a year or so ago, the Lord brought it to my mind, and I just had a pretty clear sense that He wanted to give this to me as something that He and I would do together. And so while all that was exciting, I had been an executive director at a couple of nonprofits over the years, and so I knew what it would take on the back end of things. And so I was thinking, oh dear, and I wasn't crazy about the idea of starting a 501c3. So I started looking around, especially the back end things, the accounting and all that. So I started looking around for a fiscal sponsor, and I found Women's Nonprofit Alliance, and it researched it, and it was like perfect for what I was looking for because it offered all the back end support as well as the bonus, what I consider bonus things like coaching and just the community of it all. And so I applied to WMPA, and I've been so glad and so grateful ever since to be part of the community.
Perfect. You've been a pleasure to bring on as a sponsored member, and just it's fun to meet women from the beginning and then go through the process of helping you utilize your benefits. And you jumped into our coaching and did the gap track with the strategic planning for your programming. And so I know a lot of that implementing your programming to match your mission it was like a challenge because you did really excellent looking into collaborative opportunities. I was blown away at how many cool opportunities that came your way, that you had all these incredible connections, but then also came that struggle of how do I ensure that the piece that I play in their programming matches the mission for Set to Flourish. Start by just telling us exactly what your mission is with Set to Flourish, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So Set to Flourish is a Christian Women's Job Corps site. As I mentioned, Christian Job Corps is all across the country. There's a couple hundred sites. There's almost 40 in Texas alone, but nothing in Collin County where I am. So our mission is we aim to come alongside of women who are struggling to survive and equip them with faith, community, and skill sets so that they can build a solid foundation on which to flourish in life and in work. And so the vision basically is to be able to have a place where women who are what I call living in quiet desperation and want to change the arc of their life story, that they have a place that they always know that they can come to for community and just support in mapping out their life journey.
Man, I love that. It's such a beautiful piece for our community building. And I'm curious, so once you dove into that and you were navigating some of these collaborative opportunities, I know initially you had really hoped to have had a really good volunteer base. And that was one of the things that was a surprise to you. Okay, wow, it looks a little different than I thought it was going to look. So you're going to reframe what your programming looked like. And so from there, you were looking into these opportunities to collaborate with other ministries. So tell me, as you were working through your gap coaching and just how we met, just to follow up, how did you figure out how to stay true to your mission and how did you keep the boundaries with that as you worked through these collaborations opportunities that you had?
Sure. And I have to say, Susanna, without your help, I'd probably still be struggling with it. Part of the challenge of being a startup is figuring out what your lane looks like in the context of all the other nonprofits and what everybody's doing, since you don't want to duplicate and so forth. But in my meetings with you, part of my challenge was to define and refine what my lane looks like, because in our case, my mission, I think, naturally dovetails into the mission of so many other organizations. For instance, a lot of other organizations are targeted to particular demographics or women with particular backgrounds. like single moms or immigrant moms or women coming out of the justice system, et cetera. And they typically focus more on meeting the physical needs and whatever it is that's tied to their backgrounds, but they don't often offer Christian mentoring and life skills and workforce readiness in a Christian context, which I think some of their clients would benefit from, which they think some of their clients might benefit from. It'd be logical to collaborate with them, but then the question is which one, and if they have a specific skill set or something that they want us to teach, do we teach it, even if it wasn't part of what we originally would have taught? Mm-hmm. So those are the questions. And so my being able to think them through with you, Susanna, was huge for me. It made a huge difference, so helpful, because not only were you able to help me weigh the sort of the technical considerations, yes or no, regarding these collaborations, but also the sort of the intangibles of, well, does it match the passion, the resources, or even what the Lord intended for us to do? And the temptation is for sure is to collaborate with organizations, especially since I've been around the field a long time. I know most of them, and so the relationships are already there. It's comfortable. We're all known entities to each other, and that's a temptation. But then the question becomes, would it be diluting my ability to carry out my mission if I'm not careful? And then we enter into mission creep, which, yeah.
Yeah, man, that is so good. Like, whenever I saw Terry's post about mission creep and looked back at what we had talked about, I was like, that I'm been in the nonprofit sector, but as far as like that term was new to me. And I realized, okay, that's always the temptation, is to creep away from your mission. Probably the same for businesses and other entities as well, is like keeping that core value, especially when it comes to the mission of what you're telling your donors that you're supporting and the problem that you're solving. So I love that I just loved the way that you openly wrestled with the vulnerability of that, of even just being overstretched with your time and all the things you just said. Just staying true to all those pieces was so beautiful. So I'm curious, how did you find, what was it that you did you decide to go with something specific? And if so, how did you know that it was the right thing for you, or how did you set boundaries so that it stayed true to your mission?
It was just a lot of the way that you asked me questions and helping me think things through that really helped us you helped me to verbalize and crystallize things that were just bouncing around in my head. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I literally physically felt like a weight being lifted off of me after our conversation, in a sense of peace that I did not have after that. And so I made a couple of decisions about which to collaborate on, and I'll just parking lot the other options down the line, whatever. I can think about it later. So that what I ended up with is two things, just because of the sequencing. But one is that I've been asked to be part of a group of nonprofits that are collaborating to provide a variety of services as part of a multifaceted grant that's been given to the lead agency. And so my involvement with it would be to provide support for the workforce readiness piece of it, that slice of what they're doing. And so it's working with women age 16 to 24 from under-resourced areas. And the other partners already established organizations. And so they all have the organizational infrastructure set up and all that, and administrative and all that. So as a startup, I can offer services without having to have all the operational infrastructure in place, because they do. And so their ramp up time is 6 to 9 months. So it's in the future. And we're just right now just starting discussions and what all that looks like. So there's a little bit of a time lag here on ramping that I don't have to do much of. They're going to do all that. And so in the meantime, my other direction is to offer our services to a pregnancy resource center, that they offer support to women in crisis pregnancies so they provide alternatives to abortions. And so for the women that choose to keep the baby, I would like to offer services to them to help them to map out what this life look like now with a new baby and with limited resources going forward for, say, the next 1 to 3 years or something, and just help them to map that out and do the mentoring, the coaching, the life skills classes, and workforce readiness and career planning and stuff. So that's kind of that.
I'm a practical person. I love practical tools, and I know that what you're doing is sometimes not something that everyone that's looking for help is looking for. But I absolutely love this piece that you're bringing to the community. I love that you haven't given up on finding the people that are ready to take hold of that resource and really run with it, because I'm really trusting that God's going to bring those people to you. I'm so excited about these collaborations that you decided to go with, that you just told us about. It's so fantastic. So I just really appreciate you sharing that with us. And for these other members that are listening, I know they probably gathered insight. If you haven't listened to this today and figured out that Marcy's an incredible resource that you want to connect with, then you just need to chat with her a little bit longer, because she's very connected and has just a deep well of information in this area. So we're so grateful that you are a part of the Women's Nonprofit Alliance, and we're so grateful that you dove into the benefits and you let us guide you through just the challenges of navigating your programming. And we're so excited to see what God does with these other ministries that you're partnering with. And we're so excited to see you grow.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.